The Hollywood Reporter has revealed that the long-promoted Tiana Disney Plus series has been canceled by the Walt Disney Company, with THR citing development problems and issues related to cost. But here at That Park Place, that's not all we're hearing about this troubled production. Let's examine an exclusive rumor about what may have really happened behind the scenes on this infamous Tiana Disney Plus series, here on That Park Place.
So let's talk about what's really going on over here at Disney. This exclusive Tiana series cancellation allegedly attempt to push out unfavorable Jennifer Lee hires from animation team, project deemed unreleasable despite years of productions. Well, Disney has officially postponed the cancellation of its Tiana animated series on Disney Plus as part of a shift towards short-form animation. Insider sources tell That Park Place there's much more going on behind the scenes. According to sources familiar with Disney animation, the project's demise is part of a broader effort to remove former Disney Animation Chief Creative Officer Jennifer Lee's hires from the studio following her demotion back in September. By the way, anyone want to, Vash Culture, anyone want to provide Disney's framing on what happened with Jennifer Lee?
She has decided to step down to pursue a different direction and lead a certain project through multiple franchise steps or sequels. I think it's called, it's this silly thing. Two girls, one of them has magical ice powers that annoys me. What's that, Frozen or something?
Yes. The movie where the villain wins every single time. I still don't understand why they can't figure out that.
I mean, I mean, obviously the last Frozen was, let's recognize these native people and destroy everybody's way of life for that reason or something. I don't know.
Not just everybody's way of life. They literally tried to kill everyone in Arendelle.
I mean, that's a little extreme. I mean, I would not like to point it out that way. I'll just say that, their livelihood and ability to live would have been severely limited.
Underwater.
That was the end goal.
The indigenous people looking to recapture land from the white people. That's fine. We're just gonna do that to the Frozen franchise there. Right. It'll be all good.
And the water has generational knowledge. All the trauma of the past is communicated through water.
Yeah,
right.
which of course Elsa wields water, so she wields generational trauma.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine if her and Moana got together? Holy cow. The way of water.
That's about the way that Moana 2 is going, by the way. That one seems to end on the idea that there's going to be like an AAPI Avengers that's going to have to Moana is basically a superhero at the end of that. She's a demigod. Like, okay. All right, guys.
Girl power has replaced the princess status. So I think we're like 2 weeks away from the cultural revolution.
Well, anyways, there's Jennifer Lee. As always, this should be treated as a rumor. Absolute. This is grain of salt territory. Maybe a few more grains of salt. But if true, it sheds light on just how dysfunctional Disney's animation pipeline has become. The Tiana animated series, announced in 2020, had been in production for years, but was reportedly unsalvageable. And Disney ultimately scrapped it, despite multiple leadership changes and an intended release alongside Tiana's Bayou adventure. Now insiders claim that this movie isn't just about shifting focus, it's about cleaning house. Sources close to the situation reveal that Tiana was not only plagued by creative issues, but also an initial agenda-driven pitch that may have set it up for failure. Allegedly, Joyce Sherry, the original director attached to the project, initially pitched a live-action Princess and the Frog film to Jennifer Lee during the so-called Summer of Love in 2020, pushing for a major theatrical release featuring Disney's first Black princess. However, insiders claim that Lee and other Disney executives instead chose a race-swapped Little Mermaid remake, believing it would generate more cultural and political momentum. That film would go on to bomb at the box office. There it is. I still haven't seen it. Apparently, there's a sunrise underwater. Sherry, who was not seen as experienced enough to helm a feature-length film, was instead handed the Tiana animated series as a consolation. However, the project quickly spiraled into trouble. Initial episodes reportedly failed to meet expectations, missing their intended release window, which would have coincided with Disney's theme park overhaul of Splash Mountain into Tiana's Bayou adventure. A second director was brought in to fix the series, but even that failed to salvage the product. Guys, this was intended for 5-year-olds. I'm just pointing this out.
Now I'm very interested because I had my suspicions that, well, if this isn't developing for 5 years, obviously they've changed out creative team members, as has been revealed by the Hollywood Reporter, then they might have spent a little bit of money on this. Remember, Nick Rose was attached to this project very early on, so in order to secure that contract, I wonder what guarantees they provided her. How much money did Disney blow on this now canceled, failed project for Tiana? That's my next big question here.
Well, I mean, let's see, Power Princesses seem to cost at least $300 million and have to be shot at least twice. So, they definitely put more effort into their Disney Plus stuff, apparently, considering $200 million for 8 episodes of television. So my guess is, why not splurge and spend $400 million on Tiana, Basket of Failure or whatever this was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just thoughts. Could be wrong.
Looking at this, by the time Disney considered a third attempt, executives instead decided to cut their losses and repurpose what little material they could into animated shorts, while spinning the decision as a strategic move toward short-form storytelling, similar to the success of Bluey. It's the fact that Bluey's 8 minutes. That's the magic thing right there. Bluey is 8 minutes. That's what everybody says when they tell me that Bluey's a great show. Guys, 9 minutes would have been too much. 7 minutes, too little. It's the fact that it's 8 minutes. That's why everybody loves Bluey. This narrative around short form content matches up with the information released by the Hollywood Reporter yesterday. Disney, perhaps even more significant than Tiana series cancellation, is what it represents: a deeper effort to purge Disney animation of hires tied to Jennifer Lee's tenure. Now, I fully believe that this is something that Disney should do, whether or not they are doing it. If you followed the D files over there from Film Threat that were led by Alan Ng, he talks about an internal culture where, in order to get racial disparity and gender disparity inside, or am I looking for parity? Yeah, parity. They wanted, because they couldn't find enough animators who happened to have all those qualifications, because when you start, animation is a limited field, and then also limiting that to women in animation, and then also limiting it to people of color, or also the trifecta, women of color animators right there. That's almost nobody. So they went out to anywhere they could in order to get people in. But again, they're not reaching parity between the races inside Disney animation. So they also allegedly forced some of the male, white, and old animators out, forming something like struggle sessions and goon squads to try to catch some of those old white guys who had lots of advice to give, rightly so, because they seemed to know what they were doing, and making their life miserable until they quit, whether or not that was the intention. But I think I would be tempted to quit if I was in a situation like that. But looking at this, I have some hope, and I'm not going to spoil everything here. I don't know if you guys know this, but Wish is not a very good film. You should go check out the article from our good friend Marvin Montanaro and get all the details. But I think that if this is true, what's going on with Tiana and the Tiana series that should have never been made without the proper staff, I think this is good. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, clearly this thing had massive issues for 5 years. It stagnated. I know there was an effort, I think, at the debut premiere party for Tiana's By Adventure at Walt Disney World, I believe in the Epcot International Pavilion, if I'm not mistaken. That's where it was. They tried to say, "Oh, Tiana's still on table. It's on track. It's all good. We're doing this," and well, to no avail. I mean, they're really, there's a lack of demand for Tiana's By Adventure. That's one. Again, it's a theme park attraction. You would think that if this was a big, massive franchise, that they would have unparalleled demand. They just have to keep everybody back. And yet we understand that the first day they took off your virtual queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure at Walt Disney World, the queue was, well, less than
nobody
maybe expected, like 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Bad weather. Okay, yeah, fine.
It was,
but virtual queue was taken off almost immediately at Disneyland. There's just no demand for this whatsoever. Go ahead, Coach.
No, I was going to say, there was a walk-on. If anything that says 15 minutes to 20 minutes for what used to be Splash Mountain, whatever this mud bog thing is now that they turned it into, that's walk-on time. Literally, to walk the queue doors to logs is a decent hike, and if people are starting way back in the line, it just back and forth, turn back, switch back, and then you go up the stairs and you go down the ramp into the caves, and all of that used to be an amazing queue, by the way, and very well themed to what was going on around you. Opportunities to get a look in on some great scenes in the attractions, including the riverboat. You also got a shot of the riverboat when you're on the train. Anyway, that was great. Now you get shots of non-working animatronics from the train. Anyway, so as you walk down to the logs, that's a decent chunk of like walking. So like 10 minutes maybe to walk, maybe 15. It's hard to say. So really, there wasn't any kind of a line at all. So yeah. So that
was all, by the way, made to set the scene, of course.
Yeah.
Which is something that I guess I wonder if Tiana's Bayou Adventure would still have that if it weren't for just taking advantage of existing materials there. Tiana is not a bad character, and it's one of these things. It's like there's the old joke from Ray Romano about having twins and how he's really glad they're not ugly, because if one ugly guy walks by, you just kind of okay. But if two of that, if that same ugly guy walks by twice, it really emphasizes how ugly he is. And I'm not calling Zendaya ugly, but the fact that Zendaya is in everything these days, like she's an actress and she can be in something, but if she is in like every single Hollywood production and everyone is trying to push that this person is the greatest person ever, all of a sudden you have a situation where you have to have an opinion on it, or anything that is slightly annoying becomes a lot more annoying. Same thing with Pedro Pascal. Got nothing against the guy. I think his political takes are kind of bizarre. I think his ideological takes are tragic. But if he's injected into everything, it's the same thing with Tiana. Tiana is actually one of my favorite Disney princesses because she's all about work hard and wish. I really like that message. My family does not like that very much at all. They're like, no, we're going for just the wishing here. Tiana is also the one that they parade out every Black History Month in order to show how diverse they are with their one Black princess. They don't seem to be pushing Asha the way that they do Tiana. But,
well, that movie just totally sucked. So I mean, I don't think you want to push the suck. Tiana was great. Princess and the Frog was good.
Yeah, has some Randy Newman in it.
Yeah, but indeed, and we need more Randy Newman in our shows. We had some pre-show Randy Newman.
What are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean, sir. We don't have any singing in this show. If you haven't done it yet, be sure to hit the like button. It helps us out. And if you want to drop a comment in the comment section below, that is really good. Really good. And, if you haven't done it yet, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
I didn't know that. I just, you're telling me now for the first time.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.